Okay, boys and girls, it's time to critique another Dr. Joel Kahn hand-waving study. And the study Dr. Kahn presented today was called Dietary Patterns and Incident Heart Failure in U.S. Adults Without Known Coronary Disease. And the beef I have with him today is that he implied that a plant-based diet was compared to a meat-eating diet in the study, which it wasn't. And two, this is just a typical study that shows a healthy eating pattern is beneficial. And most importantly, overall, the results went away once you adjusted for BMI. So that kind of implies that you could eat a crappy diet just as long as you maintained your BMI, and you wouldn't have any higher risk of congestive heart failure. Okay, so this was an a posteriori dietary pattern study, not a prospective cohort study. In other words, the study didn't compare the outcomes of a plant-based cohort versus a meat-eating cohort. It's a dietary pattern study that showed that adhering to a healthy eating pattern was better than not adhering to a healthy eating pattern. So the study took the dietary information of their 16,000 participants and grouped them into 4 adherence quartiles for each of the 5 eating patterns. Okay, so the eating patterns were 1, plant-based, 2, southern, 3, convenience, 4, sweets, and 5, alcohols and salads. So for the plant-based dietary pattern, they ranked all 16,000 participants by some plant-based metric and grouped them into 4 equal groups from the lowest adherence to the highest adherence. Then they compared the congestive heart failure follow-up outcomes between the highest adherence and the lowest adherence. So after adjustments for various confounding factors, they showed a 41% higher risk for the lower adherence than the highest plant-based adherence. Okay, they did not compare outcomes between the different eating patterns, just between each individual eating pattern. Okay, and the statistical significance went away after adjusting for BMI, which suggests that diet isn't as important as other healthy lifestyle factors. So in fact, other studies often point out that adjusting for healthy lifestyle factors like weight, exercise, smoking, etc., often removes the statistical significance between diet and outcomes. So, note that, from the 5 dietary patterns that they studied, that the plant-based pattern was the only healthy pattern. Okay, the alcohol and salads pattern, assuming low alcohol and high salads, is kind of a healthy eating index, but it's obviously weak. I mean, it's weak for the same reason that the sweets pattern is kind of weak, because people typically eat limited sweets. They don't eat a sweets-based diet. Okay, and of course the southern eating pattern, which people do it, an unhealthy eating pattern that people do follow. So that pattern predictably showed 72% inverse relationship between the highest adherence and the lowest adherence. So the more you adhere to the southern pattern, the more congestive heart failure you have, 72% more. Okay, between the top and bottom quartiles. Okay, so this study only evaluated one based, okay? There are other commonly used healthy dietary patterns like the Mediterranean Index, the Alternate Healthy Eating Index, called you'll see it as AHEI, and both these healthy eating patterns include meat, okay? Okay, if it, I'm guessing, but if it did analyze these dietary patterns, it would have showed the same kind of reduced risk for congestive heart failure between the top and bottom quartiles, right? I mean, you could look, there's so many studies out there that show these kinds of associations, between these healthy eating indexes that include poultry, low-fat dairy, cheese, and eggs, and of course, grains, and it also includes grains, vegetables, fruit. Okay, these are often, I think they often call this thing the prudent dietary pattern. I just wanted to go into some detail in the paper to show it didn't mean what Dr. Kahn implied it meant or what he thought it meant. It's just another paper that shows a healthy eating pattern associated with better outcomes, and there's lots of papers like this. I don't know why the researchers chose to call it a plant-based pattern, and I don't know if I didn't buy the paper, so I don't know if it actually includes poultry, egg, and other, prudent dietary foods. I don't know, but again, it wouldn't have made a difference if they did include them. There's a healthy eating pattern would have showed the same type of results. So anyway, and of course, what's maybe even more important is that the reduced risk goes away once you account for all the healthy lifestyle factors. And which is important to note because most of the people that watch these videos are pretty health-minded and probably really, really could get by on a variety of diets. Okay, so anyway, that's it.